Hi there, Tropical Bob here with more ways to save money on your tobacco habit. Today we're going to talk about the oldest use of tobacco, snuff, nasal snuff. It was discovered by Christopher Columbus's crew on the second voyage to the Americas. But today we're specifically going to talk about how the grandmothers used snuff. It wasn't ladylike to stick it up your nose the way it's designed to be used. So what the grandmothers did was they'd take a tub of snuff, take a hickory stick cut to a short length, dip it in the snuff, put it in their mouth, and go about their chores. Now we can duplicate that. If you look at this, it's a very thin dowel that I got in a hobby area of Walmart. Take the dowel, which is bigger than a toothpick. Toothpicks just aren't big enough and won't last long enough. So take the dowel, some toenail cutters, and cut you a little length of dowel stick. Now, what you want to do is open your snuff. This happens to be Swiss chocolate. I would prefer really tasty snuffs that smell good in the nose, but they're also going to taste good. Not a lot of snuffs do. Moisten the little stick. Dip it into your Dolakia Swiss chocolate snuff. It will coat a part of the end of the stick. Put that in your mouth and rest it there. The taste is pretty good. And what happens is the stick begins to absorb the nicotine after repeated use. So the stick itself becomes a source of nicotine, but the snuff resides between the cheek and the gum and is absorbed by the mucosal membranes there. All right? It's very good. Now, to carry it with you for portability's sake, you can go to like a Cracker Barrel or something and get you a little wooden toothpick holder. Old guys in the South just love toothpicks. They have them hanging out of their mouth all the time. So they carry them in these little toothpick holders that snap shut like this, roughly the size now of a cigarette, and you can carry them in your shirt pocket, just like this if you don't want it hanging out of your mouth all day. Basically, though, where I live, hanging out of your mouth all day is pretty cool. You can work at your desk this way. A little difficult talking. You can work at your desk this way, and nobody will raise an eyebrow on what you're doing. Cheap snuff is about the cheapest thing you could buy. I mean, pennies a week, more than likely, if you use it this way, the way the grandmothers did, working all day with a little moistened hickory stick dipped in snuff inside their mouth. This is Wow Coffee Bite, highly recommended. Dolakia Swiss chocolate, highly recommended, really good stuff. Pompadour is a clove flavor, so you can get a kind of a clove kick like the old chewing gum that we used to have. Anyhow, move on to the next tip. In January of this year, Reynolds American, the parent company of RJR, bought a company in Europe called Nico-Novum. It's a pharmaceutical company. This is the first direct purchase by Big Tobacco of a company that produces only pharmaceuticals. Well, they produce what is in reality snus, a snus packet, but they deem it a medical product, which may have interesting ramifications for future legal issues. They deem it a medical product, but they also produce two other products. One is a gum. All right, gums are already on the market. But the other one is a mouth spray. A mouth spray containing nicotine. I was interested in that. How could we make a mouth spray? I began actually with an experimentation of a product that already exists, and that's a nasal spray. Big Pharmaceutical offers a nicotine nasal spray. It's a very pricey item, and it irritates your nasal passages something fierce. It takes about a week to get used to it. I'm not going to use that. I don't need a lifetime addiction to a very expensive pharmaceutical product. So I went out to my friendly drugstore and got me some nasal crom, a little nice nasal inhaler. It makes a little mist like that. Then I took the proportions used by Big Pharmaceutical, which is basically the same as using nasal snuff. It's about 0.5 milligrams of nicotine per squirt. So I took some 48 milligrams per milliliter nicotine liquid, used 2 grams of this, what is it? I don't know. I don't use this metric system stuff. We're Americans. We don't use metric system. But anyhow, we do use syringes like this to refill the cartridges in electronic cigarettes that I own. So I've got my nifty little measurements right down the side. And what I want is 8 of plain nasal spray solution, 2 of nicotine. Shake them up, mix them together in something like this, and you've got homemade nicotine nasal spray. Am I going to use it on camera? No. This stuff is incredibly irritating. Squirted up. It took me literally about 5 days to get over tears running down my eyes, burning sensation there. This is incredibly irritating stuff, just as big pharmaceuticals is. You do get used to it. I don't know how, but your nose somehow adapts to this stuff, and it doesn't irritate quite so much. It's a pretty quick nicotine hit. It also stinks. So I'm not real fond of this. Throw that away, okay? We'll just put that down. What I am fond of is the product that Niconovum made, and I went the same way in creating a mouth spray. I began with chloroseptic and grape flavor for children. Love this stuff. I use it every night anyhow before I go to sleep to prevent my mouth drying out when I pop my mouth open and start breathing. So I put in 8 chloroseptic, 2 48 milligram unflavored, tasteless liquid containing nicotine, put them in a little sprayer I got, almost dropped the little sucker. These can be purchased this way. Now I've used almost all of it up because I like this. Okay, so here we go. 2. I just got anywhere from 1 to 2 milligrams of nicotine. Now a cigarette delivers about 1 milligram for each one smoked, so I just smoked a cigarette, maybe 2 cigarettes. The estimate on the Niconovum website that Reynolds bought, the RJR bought, is that 50% of the nicotine is absorbed used this way. And they say their clinical trials show that this is second only to cigarettes in speed of delivery to the bloodstream. That's pretty good. Cigarettes, of course, come in through the mouth, and some of it's absorbed there, some of it in the upper airways, and a lot of it from the lungs. That lung delivery to the bloodstream, to the brain, is the fastest route of getting nicotine satisfaction. But nasal spray and mouth spray are 2 really, really neat routes to get your nicotine kick. Cheap? Dirt cheap. I don't know how many pennies this would cost. This bottle will last me just about forever. You can get 30 milliliters of this stuff, probably a 3-month supply for a lot of people, for about $30, about $1 a liter, a milliliter. And it just seems to last just about forever. A lot cheaper than cigarettes. These, my doctor used to give me these when I was a little kid so I could go out and play doctor. Take the needle off, of course. I use the needle off because I actually stuck myself twice when I first started using these. But this is how we refill the cartridges in electronic cigarettes. You put it into the liquid and bring the plunger up to wherever you need. A cartridge contains about 1.5 milliliters of fluid. So you want 1.5 sucked up into here, and then you inject that into your cartridge.